Timothy Ash is with me with BlueBay Asset Management, the emerging markets senior sovereign strategist. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess at the moment, and I'm asking you, what does the market now want to see that would ease the pressure to some extent?
Well, it's very hard to see a resolution here. The market's very sanguine. If you read the investment reports of international banks, they think there's not going to be a war. But I think this is one of those read my lip moments. Biden said exactly what he thought last night. He thinks war is coming. And if you talk to intelligence analysts out of DC, guys who've seen a lot of the intelligence, they think it's going to happen. You know, Putin, it's now or never, and it's not about NATO. It's very difficult to see a solution here. I mean, remember, Putin put red lines in place last week, red lines that were not deliverable. You know, he's positioning, I think, to go into Ukraine, and that's going to be very painful for markets.
Right, but which markets? Which markets will it hit? Obviously energy, because any form of disruption there, even though Nord Stream 2 isn't online yet, but Russia can turn off other taps. So energy gets hit, but sovereign debt?
Well, Russian assets have underperformed in the last couple of months. I think they're going to really struggle if it's a proper invasion and it's an extended period of time. Ukrainian assets, obviously, regional assets, energy, but it's interesting. If you go last week, the Polish foreign minister described this as the most serious security crisis in 30 years for Europe. This is a European problem, and I think broader European markets will struggle if it seems likely we see a major conflict in Europe.
The strategy then that an investor would follow, factor this, we've already got high inflation, we've got rising interest rates in the US and in the UK, we have unemployment, we have all these other issues, well, we haven't even mentioned COVID yet. So where do you place this geopolitical strategic potential war? Where do you place that in that maelstrom?
Well, unfortunately, it's another factor that's going to weigh on inflation. So Lagarde today was like head in the sand in terms of inflation problems, but I mean this is going to be brutal in terms of European energy prices. So I think it adds to this global inflationary story. We all know Russia supplies 40% of energy to Europe. This is going to likely further disrupt those inflows, cause more problems there. Investors should wake up and smell the coffee. I mean, Russian assets, I think, will struggle.
Right. So let me take that finally. That this idea of, do you believe a potential armed conflict is priced into the market at the moment?
Absolutely not. And particularly not in Russian assets, and I think energy markets and European assets in general. This is going to be a big war. I spoke to one very experienced DC-based former security official, and she described to me this is the most serious crisis since the 1980s in terms of the security situation in Europe. I mean, just think about that.
I'm afraid, Timothy, you and I are probably old enough to remember it.
I'm afraid we are.
Which makes the point. All right, good to see you. We will talk more, please, sir. Come back and talk more about it as we work our way through this crisis, however it transpires and unfolds.